I had a lot of issues growing up, to be honest. I wanted to be a baseball player during the season. And then in the off season, when they weren't playing, I wanted to be a police officer. That always gave me motivation to keep going.
Hi, Evan. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have been following your work for a very long time, and I started watching your 10 secrets and 10 things about those entrepreneurs things that have really helped me in my career as well. And so today I thought it's really going to be very special for me to have you on and to ask you directly some of the things that you have learned over the years. So maybe let's just start off with, for our audience out there, can you tell us a little bit about your early life?
Early life, like how far back do you want to go?
Let's just start with when you remember things, and then as a kid, growing up in your family, what was it like, and what was some of the values that your dad and your mom taught you?
Cool. Okay. So I've got a video. I've got a picture on the wall behind me. That's me when I'm 8 or 9 years old, and my parents above me, and they would always tell me that I am Evan Carmichael. I could do anything that I believe that I can. And growing up, I was the only boy, middle child. Got an older sister, a younger sister, and I had a lot of issues growing up. To be honest, I had a hearing disability. I had tubes in my ears. I used to hide under my desk at school
Mm-hmm.
and just not participate in anything. And my parents, I think, struggled a lot with me. Had tons of patience. I had to go see a child psychologist. And I didn't do super well in school. I never failed anything, but I was kind of a B and C student where my sisters were always getting straight A's in everything they were doing. So it was that kind of pressure to get better and not be B's and C's.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember every time I got a report card, I have to go have the talk with my parents where we'd sit on their bed, and they would always leave with the encouraging message, right? And that I'm Evan Carmichael. I could do anything that I believe that I can. And they had high expectations, but also made it feel like it was possible instead of just telling me that I suck and I should be doing better. And that, I think, really helped me overcome a lot of the struggles and challenges that I faced of having nervous tics and having, being introverted and shy, and slowly building more belief and confidence in myself to go off and do bigger things. It really started taking off when I got into university and had my own business and all that. But it was a struggle, definitely, going in the early years of just dealing with the those issues of the hearing problems and feeling like I wasn't smart enough.
And so, what were like your childhood ambitions?
I wanted to be a baseball player.
Okay.
Because I loved Kelly Gruber is a baseball player for the Toronto Blue Jays. I wanted to be a baseball player during the season, and then in the off season when they weren't playing, I wanted to be a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought I wanted to be when I was a kid, when I was maybe like 9, 10 to maybe 13. Then I wanted to be a banker, because I started when I was 12 and 13. I started selling baseball cards and started making some good money doing it. And I thought, ooh, I like this idea of making money. I want to find a way to make more money. And I asked my parents, who makes a lot of money? And they said bankers. So like, I want to be a banker.
Mm.
And I'm 40 now. So back then, entrepreneurship wasn't something that people did. The only entrepreneurs were people who kind of didn't do well in school and couldn't go to college. So you start your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I was doing my own baseball card stuff, I never really had a real business. And so I thought I wanted to be a banker. And then when I got into university, things shifted a little bit, joined the company, became a 30% owner in them. But yeah, so baseball player and police officer to banker to then entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, later part of your journey, you started your own company, and you help other people raise capital as well. But you talk about the company that you eventually got 30%. So can you tell us, like, is that your first job, and how did you eventually got that 30%?
I had jobs before then. I didn't really enjoy any of them. I mean, I couldn't do a lot, you know. I mean, I was super young. I didn't have a ton of skills. I did landscaping, just like putting grass down on people's homes.
Sure.
I did data entry, like copy paste, like boring stuff. So those are my first jobs, I guess, and it paid okay. The business did not pay well at the beginning. I was not making any money. How did that happen? So there were two people I connected with in university,
Sure.
and they were great at coding and doing the work and building software. They had already started the company. I'm not a co-founder, but I joined a year and a half in, I want to say. I'd have to go back. You're testing my memory now. We're going back 20 years. And as part of that, I was going to bring the business side of things. I was going to be getting them in the media. I was going to be talking to distributors. I was going to be trying to build the business of the business, because I suck at science and I can't do coding. So I wasn't the scientist. They were two scientists, and I was going to try to do the business stuff. And they couldn't pay me a lot. So I was making $300 a month, which is nothing, but something, you know, I guess it's not totally free, but not living expenses for sure. And so as a part of that, then I got 30% equity in the business, and that became how I started making some money.
And can you just tell us a bit more about how you built your first company? I think at the age of 19.
Yeah, so I started at 19 and was just sucking. You know, everything was not getting results. I came in thinking, okay, here I go, easy. I learned all this business stuff in school. Let's go.
So you had a business degree from college?
I was in college. I mean, I was in university, so
Okay.
I was learning business. I went to school for business.
Okay. Yeah.
Commerce and finance is the official degree, I guess. So I'm learning all this stuff, and it looks so easy. Like, okay, economics and all this stuff. Like, okay, perfect. Let's go start my company. And it was a lot harder. I realized not many of the skills that I was being taught in my class actually transferred over to being an entrepreneur and having success. So I started going to work. Most of it was not working. I was doing outreach. I was doing email. I was too afraid to talk to people on the phone at the beginning because I thought I was too young. You know, we were selling scientific software to people who were, you know, in their 40s, 50s, 60s. I was 19 and I sucked at science. So I felt like I wouldn't do well on the phone. And I was just too young. They wouldn't take me seriously. And we just failed. I mean, we just failed until one day I quit. I told my partner I quit. I was just tired of feeling like a loser. It's the honest truth. And I woke up the next day and I said, I don't want to quit on this yet. You know, I don't know if it's going to work, but I can't quit on this yet. Just gotta keep trying. But I can't keep doing the thing I'm doing because what I have been doing isn't working. It's just not working. So I asked myself, I'm not the first guy to try to build a software company before, right? Like, who's done this? Somebody must have done this. Who? And how can I learn from them? And the first guy that I thought of was Bill Gates, who started Microsoft. And I didn't know anything much about Microsoft besides I used some of their software. But I went to go look at his story and how he started Microsoft. And that gave me an idea to then put into my business. And a short while later, I had my first sale for $13,500 US, which that may not sound like a lot of money, but man, that was money to me. When you're making $300 a month and then $13,500 comes in, it's like, wow, I'm rich. But then, you know, more important than that was I had a model I could keep doing again and again and again. And so then we started getting customers, and then we started getting traction, then we started getting growth. And ever since, to be honest, whenever I don't know what to do, I model success. It's like, who has done this before and how can I learn from them instead of me trying to figure it all out for myself?
And so obviously after that, you sold that company, right?
So we sold that company when I was 22. So I was 19 to 22. So the first year and a half basically sucked. And then we started to get some traction, and then we sold when I was 22. Then what did I do next? Then I didn't know what to do next, to be honest. I was trying to figure out, like, this company was my whole life. I'd wake up and I would just go work on my company. I had nothing else.
Sure.
And so when we sold it, my two business partners, they're a little older than me. So they were what? I was 22. They would have been 26 and 27. They went to the US as part of the deal. And it was also a personal thing. They wanted to live in the US, and it's hard as a Canadian to just go live in the US. So they went with the deal. I stayed here because they didn't need a business guy in the other company. So I didn't know what to do next. I said yes to a whole bunch of things. And one of them was a venture capital firm where they were raising $500,000 to $15 million for companies who wanted to grow. And I never had to raise capital for my company, but I was always kind of curious about it. So I said, okay, I'll join. I'll help. Teach me how to raise capital. And I was there for probably a year and a half, kind of learning how that business worked. And in the meantime, I got asked to do some speaking, young entrepreneur success story kind of thing. So I did a bunch of speaking. I launched my website. Eventually built up the website to have 100,000 pages of content. Then started my YouTube channel in 2009, and been doing all sorts of fun stuff ever since.
Mm-hmm. So, you talk about venture capitalists, and you were only, I think, 22 at the point where you started to become one. What are some of the valuable lessons that you have learned from your time as a venture capitalist? What are, like, maybe say one common mistake that companies usually do when it comes to raising capital for their company?
Lack of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So the VC wants to invest in the expansion of your company, not in the creation of the company. It's a big difference. Most people come in with just a business plan. The plan alone is not enough. You have to have momentum, especially now. Like, this was 18 years ago, but especially now, it's even more important. There's no reason why you can't have some momentum. So you don't come with just pitching the idea. If you're going to have an app that you want to blow up, great. You have to show that you've already created the first version of the app, and you already have some people using the app. Maybe they're not paying for the app, but momentum. You got to show me the stuff is happening, not just to invest in the research and developing. The easiest money to raise is marketing and expansion. The hardest money to raise is help me come up with this new thing and build it, right? Mm-hmm. So, having momentum, having users, having people who've already interacted with your business and they've signed up, or they're, even if it's free, but they're part of it, is a big difference compared to what most people come in with, is just a business plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now moving on to the YouTube segment, right? So, the last I checked, from a YouTube channel, I think it was 2.62 million subscribers and growing. But obviously, I don't think that when you first started, you would know that it will one day become the biggest channel for entrepreneur. So, can you just share with us your initial plans and goal when you first started this channel? Like, what were your initial thoughts for it?
Yeah. So, in looking at the growth, I went from 0 to 7,000 subscribers in the first 5 years. It took me 5 years to get to 7,000 subscribers. And then the next 5 years, I went from 7,000 to 2 million. And now we're at whatever you said, 2.62 or whatever. At the beginning, I just wanted to share stories. I learned visually. I found that I liked it better when I could see something. I don't listen to a single podcast because auditory is the slowest way of learning for me. I like to see it. I'm very visual. So I wanted to create content that other visual learners like me could learn from. When I started on YouTube, it was 2009. There were no, YouTube in 2009 was totally different. You weren't famous, going on YouTube. Yeah. There weren't people sharing business videos, on YouTube. It wasn't really a thing. So I never really had any goals or aspirations to say, I'm going to have 2 million subscribers. I wasn't that smart to see, hey, this is where it's going. I just really wanted to share content, and hopefully some other people who are visual learners like me could learn and be inspired. I also always cared about the people who are watching. I think a big reason why people quit is they say, oh, I only got 100 views on that video. Nobody cares. I only got 100 posts, or comment, or not comments, like likes on my Instagram post. Nobody cared. I always treated those as, that's 100 people.
Yeah.
Like those are real people,
Yeah.
right? That if you were to go do a speech in front of 100 people, you'd be so nervous, you'd be so scared, you'd be so excited, like, man, 100 people showed up to hear me speak. But when they watch your video, you feel like it doesn't matter. So I always just stayed connected to, those are real people who are watching my videos and hopefully learning something. And that always gave me motivation to keep going instead of saying, oh, I only got 100 people, I'm going to give up and quit.
Mm-hmm. And what was the biggest thing, probably that one or two thing that you felt, because you talk about, the first 5 years having 7,000 subscribers, and then the next 5 years you blew to 2.6 million, so on. What do you think was the difference between the first 5 and the next 5 that caused you to really explode?
Well, one, getting better, like by doing it, by staying on it, by staying consistent, you slowly start to get better and get the skills. The two, I got some mentorship. So I didn't follow my own rule, like what was my rule? Model success.
Yeah.
I was just kind of throwing videos up without really having a game plan. So after 5 years in, I really tried to find somebody who could help me get better as a speaker, get better, on YouTube. And I really devoted more time to not trying to figure everything out myself and just learn from someone who's done it. And that really started to spike the growth.
Mm-hmm. And so, you talk about how you started in 2009, right? But in today's age, there are so many so-called, producers of motivational and personal development content, So, what makes you stand out, or what can other people that are new towards this, that they want to have a shot at it, what can they do to stand out from others?
I'd say make the content that the you from 5 years ago needs to see. I still make the videos I make are still for 19-year-old Evan who is struggling to start his business and get customers and is not making any money. Those are the videos I make. Like I still need them today. I watch the videos still for me today, but think about who you used to be and what you used to struggle with and make content for that person in a way that Evan Carmichael can't and somebody else can't and only you can. It may not be the highest quality yet. And again, go back and watch my videos. Most of them sucked at the beginning. So that's what you got to think of. Think of who you used to be 5 years ago, make content for them, and know that there are millions of people right now, who currently are who you used to be. They're struggling with all the things that you used to struggle with, and you can help them. Mm-hmm. So go make the content.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think people don't believe enough in themselves? I think you talk a lot about this on your Insta story, your YouTube, and everything. Even your book, you talk about it. But what do you think is like that one or two thing, the reason why people don't believe in themselves enough?
I think usually it's a thought that's been planted. So when you are born, you don't come out and say, I suck. Like when you're a baby, you're just born, you don't come out of your mother saying, I suck and I can't do anything, right? So how do you get that? Well, voices were put in your head. It's different people for different people, right? So maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your school teachers, maybe it's the friends that you hung out with, maybe it's the books that you were reading, or the media, the TV shows you're watching. Like there's lots of stuff, but recognize that it's not actually your voice. It's other people's voices that now you've accepted as your own voice. You've heard it so much that now it becomes your own voice. I need to kick that out. Like that's their negative voice. You can do anything. Remember as a kid, you feel like you can do anything. Like that's still there. That's still inside you.
Yeah.
And so then starting to surround yourself with more people, even remote, even like this, even YouTube videos, to be around people that make you feel better about yourself, not worse about yourself. And that's how you slowly shift the line of self-belief.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times it's just down to the environment that we are in, and so once you start to shift yourself and surround yourself with the right people, it will help them a lot. But what's next for them after they start to believe in themselves? Because I think it's a pretty hard journey for them. So other than changing the environment, what else can they do to eliminate the noise?
Then it becomes doing, right? So it's great to be motivated, to be around, to watch a Elon Musk video or whatever and get motivated. Now you got to do something. Like watching the video alone isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can watch a video about how to do sit-ups, but you won't get healthier until you do the sit-ups, right? Mm-hmm. Like Elon Musk is not going to come and sell things for you. You still have to go and sell the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step is just creating the hope and creating the belief that it's possible, that you can as well, that you don't only have negative voices in your head, you've got some positive ones that are slowly kicking those ones out. Now it's using that positivity to go create. You have a great idea. Like even this, your idea to reach out and do this together is a great idea, but until you message me, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get stuck at that phase too, where they have lots of great ideas, but then they don't do the step. They don't do. And so in that doing, you then create even more belief that you can do it again for the next time.
Yeah. And talking about me messaging you and getting this arranged and putting this up, I think a lot of people they don't understand. Sometimes you just have to ask, and that's what I did. So what are your experience with yourself? I mean, when it comes to getting rejected or getting accepted, what do you try to do? Because like for a lot of people, I don't think they even dare to reach out to you. But that's what I did, and you obviously replied. So how can people deal with rejection in a way that they will see it as a growth rather than failing and let that grow?
I would say you tie your worth to the effort, not the result. Mm-hmm. Right? That you need to be proud of yourself for doing what you can. You can't control what I say. You can't control if I say yes or no. I could have said I'm super excited. I mean, I think I said, hey, contact my assistant, screenshot this, and like we'll set up a time to make it happen. Yeah. I could have said, no, I hate you. Never message me again. or I could have seen it and not replied at all. Or I could have just ignored the whole thing. Like you are not in control of what I do.
Yeah.
You can only control what you do. And so that's what I would reward. Like if I was reaching out, and listen, I've messaged Elon Musk and I haven't heard back yet. Mm-hmm. Right? It doesn't prevent me from trying again. Right? I'm proud of my effort for trying.
Yeah.
So being proud of what you are in control of every day, because you may not message, like you may not get everybody. Most people, if you message 100 people, maybe only 2 write back to you.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It doesn't mean that those 98 other people hate you. They're busy running their lives. Maybe they didn't even see the message. And so it's getting up every day and saying, hey, I got 2. I'm proud that I reached out to 100. Now the next time I'm going to get 2 more. I'm going to get 2 more. And you slowly start to build up.
Mm-hmm. So one final question, right? So what does a perfect world look for you?
So I believe everybody's got Michael Jordan level genius at something, where you're the greatest in the world at something. And I want people to find it. I want people to find a thing that they could be great at and then go off and do it. And that's what I realize that's never going to happen, but I'm trying every day to make it happen. And through videos and interviews and books and every path I can think of, we're trying to unlock as many people as possible. I think that's a perfect world. I think if people woke up every day and felt like the work that they do matters, that what they're about to do today matters, has an impact, has meaning, will make a difference, I think that's a pretty great world to live in compared to what we've got now, where most people wake up and feel like, doesn't really matter if I show up or not.
All right. Thank you, Evan. Thank you so much for your time.
Cool, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If you want to see another awesome interview I did, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.